Hey guys, I'm Melissa.
I'm Kalia.
I'm Vanessa. And the purpose of this project is to gain an insight of the diversity of life, the similarities and differences between various types of organisms.
In this video, we're going to talk about the first 3 organisms. We're going to talk about their phylum, their classification, their reproduction, etc.
Hope you enjoy. Thank you.
This is my dog, Sparkle. She's a Yorkie Poo, and her species name is Canis lupus, and that's the scientific name specifically meaning gray wolf. And wild dogs are ancestors of gray wolves, and Yorkie Poos are ancestors of wild dogs, so they are all from the same species. She's in phylum Chordata, and there are 5 characteristics that are specific to this phylum, and they come about at some point in the organism's life, whether it's in embryonic development or as they grow, but they will have a nodal cord, a dorsal hollow nerve cord, a pharyngeal slit, post-anal tail, and a thyroid gland. Her classification, she's in kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, order Carnivora, family Canidae, and genus Canis. Her mode of nutrition, she's a chemoheterotroph, which means that she ingests other materials to receive her energy, so she gets it from the foods that she eats, and her body will chemically convert it so that she can use it for energy to do whatever she needs to do, however she needs to move around and things like that. Her species reproduces by sexual reproduction. More specifically, they go through gametic meiosis to reproduce. And her lifespan, or the lifespan of a dog, it goes from a puppy, which is from 0 months to a year, depending on the type of dog, and then it transitions into an adolescent, which is 1 to 2 years old, and then they transition to an adult, which is 2+ years, and however long they live, they will be an adult. Yorkie Poo specifically, they live for 10 to 15 years. So for the source, as you can see, the picture is from my living room. The range, Yorkie Poos are a hybrid breed of Yorkshire Terriers and Poodles, and they were bred by humans, and they originated in northern England. And the distribution of Yorkie Poos is random, since they were specifically bred to be companion dogs. They're not naturally found in nature, so they don't have a specific place that you can get them from or anything, because they were bred by humans. And so their existence is mostly up to breeders, and they're a young breed, so they are a very rare breed, so there's not that many of them in comparison to other dogs. The habitat of Yorkie Poos is unique as well. Since they were bred specifically for humans, by humans, they were always meant to be companions to humans, so they live in the same environments and conditions that we do. They don't have a specific place in the outside world where they live, because most of them stay with humans, and if you see them outside, then they have gotten loose, or they were domesticated once by a human, because they are not found generally in the outside world. The origins and living habits of a Yorkie Poo are a great example of human intelligence and resourcefulness. Their ancestors are the wild dogs, and they originated in Africa. They live mostly in savannas and deserts, which have very hot climates, and they scavenged and hunted for food. They thrived in packs, and they were predators of their area. The ecological role is also unique. Yorkie Poos specifically do not have a big ecological role, because like I said earlier, they're not necessarily found in the wild because they were bred for humans. However, they have become essential for some humans. Their comforting qualities and good attitudes make them great emotional support animals. They're useful in the upkeep of human mental health, and therefore they are important parts of human development. Their ancestors, the wild dogs, were predators in their land. They ate small animals and larger animals that were injured or sick. They were very essential in eliminating sick or diseased animals from their environment. Without them, there probably would have been an increase in disease in some of those other species that they ate, which could have caused extinction in some animals that we see alive today. So they help the ecosystem in that they keep everybody or all the other species safe from contaminating diseases that arise in other sick animals that these dogs eat.
So this is a picture that I took with a kale plant. The species name is called Bericica oleracea var sabelica. It is derived from the Latin meaning for cabbage. Plants in this group grow best in rich, moist, and well-drained soil. It is best grown in cool temperatures such as the fall and the winter, and it may need the shade to survive the summer heat. The kingdom of this species is the kingdom Plantae. The phylum is Magnoliophyta. The class is Dicotyledons. The order is Bericicales. The family is Bericicaceae, and the genus is Brassica. The mode of nutrition, kale is a non-autotrophic mode of nutrition, meaning it prepares its own food. It uses sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water to produce energy in photosynthesis. The reproduction and life cycle, kale can be grown through direct seed in the garden or started from indoors and transplanted into the garden. Kale is a biennial, meaning it has a 2-year life cycle. And in the first year, kale produces its tender leaves, and in the following season, as the temperature rises, it completes the life cycle by producing seeds. The source, range, and the dispersion. The source, the plant is from the plant garden in North Carolina A&T next to the Science Lab building. The range, kale ranges from different varieties of colors and temperature that is grown. The most common being the curly kale, which you most likely see in the grocery store, and you can even add it to salad or a smoothie. The other one is a lacinato kale, which is more of a dark blue green. We have ornamental kales, which ranges from white to pink and purple. We have the red Russian kale, the Chinese kale, the Siberian kale, which are grayish green, and the red boar kales, which are reddish and deep purple. The dispersion, kale has long been around since the ancient Greeks and Roman times. It is a native of the Mediterranean region and has been a part of the European diets before arriving to North America in the late 19th century. Habitat, the kale has a tolerance for cold and can flourish especially in the colder seasons such as fall and winter. In the United States, kale production is popular in states such as Georgia, New Jersey, and Texas. The ecological role, kale is filled with good source of vitamin A, C, and K, iron and calcium, and many other anti-cancer properties. Its nutrients promote a healthy immune system and aids in protection against cell damage. It has a low destruction rate to the environment, and kale is shown to have no significant damage to water, air, forest, and the land. My organism was the ant, and the scientific name is the Tetramorium caspitum, also known as the pavement ant, and it is a species of ant in the family Formicidae. So pavement ants range from dark brown to nearly black, and they ranges in size 2.75 to 3.2 millimeters. They are characterized by having a head and a thorax, and they have a raised rims around the antennal. They also have a 12-segmented antennae with 3-segment club and a single pair of spine, and a 2-segmented waist called the petal and the post petal. Attached to them is also a stinger. For their classification, they belong in the kingdom of the Animalia. The phylum is the Arthropoda. The class is the Insecta. The order is the Hymenoptera. The family is the Formicidae, and the genus is the Tetramorium. With the mode of nutrition, a pavement ant is a chemoheterotroph, which means they're unable to produce their own food, and they get their nutrition from other sources of organic carbon. This requires its energy and carbon source by feeding on remains of feces, plants, animals, other insects, or like sweet stuff. With the reproduction and life cycle, you can normally see pavement ants are large with usually one queen. In the reproductive pavement ants typically swarm in the late spring and early summer. After the ants mate, the queen lays the eggs in the soil, and after 2 to 3 months period, a first colony of ants are developed. During the winter, pavement ants may nest inside structures close to heat sources. So for the stores, I found this pavement ant on the sidewalk on my way back from class. They are natives to Europe and were introduced to North America in the 1700s. Pavement ants are now found in most of eastern and southern United States. They are usually found randomly or clustered when feeding on particular food. Also, sometimes you can see them like singly carrying down food like in a line back to their colony. So for their habitat, pavement ants usually live in pavement cracks, or pavement ants colonies can be found under objects lying on the ground like stones, logs, concrete slabs, mulch, landscape beds. It is rare for a pavement ant colony to be found indoors, but usually in some cases you can see them in walls or like the attic or some type of foundation. For the ecological role, a pavement ant is not medically or economically important. They do have a stinger, but it's not aggressive on the human skin because they don't bite. If you do have any concerns, if you've been stinged, you can just go to your physician. If removed from the ecosystem, they wouldn't do anything because they have no direct economic benefit to humans.